Shorter than 50 states. I made a joke about that at work the other day.
Did anyone get it?
Nobody got it. They didn't know what I was talking.
Oh, fuck.
And I made a joke about it in the context of it being a like weird, wrong saying, and I was like, yeah, from like Horrible Bosses, and like somebody was like, I don't get it, and I was like, that's the joke, is that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the joke is that it's dumb.
Yeah, yeah, and they're like, I don't know.
That movie's not that old either. 2011.
No.
We're not getting references from 2011. That was a box office. That was a hit. That was a big movie. They made a sequel. What the fuck? Come on, people.
I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
And this is a review. On today's episode, which is episode 71, we'll be reviewing Booksmart. Booksmart stars two people that are named... they are named Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein. And it's super bad with girls. Ben, what you think about Booksmart?
It's quite good. It's not great, but it's quite good.
Yeah, that's
very funny.
That's a fair assessment. So this is Olivia Wilde's directorial debut. I mean, she's directed like a few music videos, some shorts, but this is her first feature film. And it's starring, like I said, Caitlin Dever, who you might have seen in, I don't really know her from anything. She was in Short Term 12. She was in Last Man Standing. She was in Beautiful Boy. She's been in quite a few things, actually. She's been around. And then Beanie Feldstein is Jonah Hill's sister. And she was in the second, what's that movie? Neighbors. She was in the second Neighbors movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people are saying this is female Superbad because it is. Like, it's almost identical, the setup. It's two kids that are best friends. They've been best friends for all of high school. They're graduating high school tomorrow. They are like valedictorians, but they want to go to a party for the first time ever.
That's the twist, essentially.
What? That they're valedictorians?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're not like fuck ups.
They're not like nobodies. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're nobodies socially, but like they have like, there's a different level of status between, you know, Seth and Evan and Superbad. Like, they're just like the kind of...
Yeah, they're like the nerds. I mean, these guys are like, they're like nerds, but not really. Like, they're kind of like self-imposed nerds where they just kind of like put themselves in this island. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not.
So that's kind of your basic setup. And then we find out pretty early on that Molly wants to get laid, and so does... Yeah, they both want to get laid, right?
Yeah.
That's the basic... They're trying to get laid. They want to hook up. They've never had any kind of sexual experience.
Like Seth and Evan, they each have like kind of their respective crushes, which satisfy like the different, you know, their different niches, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's kind of your setup. Now, I will say the thing that is great about this movie is not their chemistry as friends together. I think they're okay together. I think that the one girl, Caitlin Devers, who plays Amy in the movie, I think she really carries the movie for the two of them. Beanie Feldstein, aka Molly, she's kind of a one-note character. She's just kind of angry, bossy bitch the whole movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Miss Dever has definitely a lot more, like, she carries a lot more of like the arc and like the emotional weight. I think she has way more of like the subtle, like, individual introspective character moments that really kind of flesh her out as like a full-bodied human.
Well, and she's like funny. She's like she's got this kind of charming wit to her. I thought she was like a pretty well-written character. I thought she was funny. You want to spend time with her as opposed to Molly, the other character, who is just abrasive and irritating for me to be around. And I know people like her in real life, and just like, they're not people you want to be around, which, you know, that is part of her character arc, and she does have a good character arc, but you spend 90% of the movie like nails on chalkboard with her, really.
It's not as paced out as well as both like
a Superbad.
Yeah. Where it's sort of like you kind of get a setup and then it kind of builds and explodes, and then this is definitely rushed toward like the second half of like the third act, where it's like, oh, this, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, well, and I think most of the good character development does come through when they do get to the party, but it takes way too long for them to get to the party, which I think was my big complaint. And, you know, Superbad's the same thing. They don't get to the party until the third act, but I think the difference is the situations they're in feel like more grounded somehow. The situations they're in this movie feel a little bit too like outlandish for my money. Like they're not not like crazy, but it just feels like too disconnected.
Yeah.
Like they just kind of feel like random vignettes, and like they go to different, they end up in different places, and then they get picked up by an Uber and go to a new place, and like something weird happens and they go to the next place, and it's like just get to the party, because that's where the good stuff is, you know?
Yeah, this one's definitely a lot more, I think that's the side effect of this being more of like a overtly like LA movie. There's a movie called Stretch a few years back where Patrick Wilson's like a limousine driver, and the whole setup is he's going to like these different random weird parties in LA. So that's sort of like a thing, I guess. But yeah, no, this didn't have the same like locality of like they're just trying to go to one party. They get kind of knocked around a little bit.
You know, we're both from the Midwest, and Superbad does kind of evoke that more classic high school feeling. Not that this movie didn't. Like, I thought they got the kids down really well. Like, they felt like young people, and like they did a good job of making this like high school ecosystem come to life. But yeah, the LA nature of it does kind of add like kind of a specific niche, I think. Whereas like once again, Superbad is a little bit more relatable to more people, I would say.
Yeah.
But that being said, this isn't bad for that. Like, it is still entertaining. It's just, yeah, the side characters and the side stories outside of the party weren't as entertaining as I would have liked. Now, there was some little good bits here and there, like Jason Sudeikis, whenever he would pop up, he had a nice little, as a Lyft driver, that was a great little scene. But, like, for example, one thing that didn't really work for me was the like, very, the one kid that had the murder mystery party, which was kind of funny at first, but it just kind of went nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a lot of attention focused on, you know, the bit was way too elaborate for, it could have just been, oh, I'm doing a murder mystery party and like a clue into like one of the characters and then been done. Yeah, like there's a couple of scenes where it could have just been like cut in half.
Well, they needed to make it more of a journey, like the journey to get to the party. Like I said, it felt too like disconnected, or it felt like too random. Whereas like something like Superbad, it feels a little bit more like you're getting there. Like it feels like more of a journey than this, where it did feel like just kind of vignettes. But yeah, Jason Sudeikis was funny. The first party they go to on the boat, I was just kind of like whatever about that whole sequence, you know what I mean?
It was a very LA bit, like,
yeah, once again, it's like I get it, I get the whole LA-ness to it, and the murder mystery party, same kind of deal, where it's at this like weird mansion, but like they were like too specific, and like I don't know, just not very funny, you know?
Yeah, the first party was definitely, obviously it was intentionally supposed to be awkward, but I think it was a little more like played out. Like if it just been a little trimmed down, you know, you set it up a little more.
Yeah, and once again,
focused.
I just think like the real drama of the movie, like the character stuff plays out so well when they get to the party. It almost feels like that they just really needed to like stretch the rest of the movie to get to the party to make it a whole feature film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And like the teacher, like I think we were talking about this a little bit. So like the girls are like really good friends with one of their teachers, Miss Fine, which is funny. And they set her up like pretty. She seems cool, and like she seems like she's down to earth. And then like they kind of like do this weird thing by the end of the movie where she kind of is like, she's like desperately trying to cut loose to the point where she's like hooking up with a student, and it's just kind of like it's kind of funny, but like they don't push it far enough to make it like ridiculous. And so it kind of makes you think about the reality of the situation, because it doesn't push it that far, and they kind of like, I don't know. I think a lot of this movie, for me, it didn't push it far enough. You know, it was playing it almost too safe in some areas.
You know, they do a bit like that in the original 21 Jump Street. Yeah. Where Ellie Kemper from The Office is like the teacher. She's really trying to fuck Channing Tatum. Mm-hmm. but they push her full on where she's like,
Yes.
oh no, you can't. No, she's like, so
Yeah,
like
that's a funny bit.
on the edge. Yeah, she's like, oh, don't do that. But ooh, oh my God. And she's like pulling back and forth. It's really like herky jerky. She's kind of just like, what about this? Like foot in each door where,
Yes.
the line treading is a little too like convoluted.
Yeah. Well, another good example is of underutilizing or not pushing far enough was the fact that Amy's parents are played by Will Forte and Lisa Kudrow.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty funny scene, but then like they just disappear for the movie, and it's like, why did you cast them? Like, you utilize these characters more. Like, they're fun. Like, their weird quirks could have been fun. Like, they could have been an obstacle to what they're doing, or they could have been like calling them, or I don't know. They could have been involved in some capacity, and I think that would have been a better choice. But the kid characters I thought were all really good, with the exception of the love interest for. So Amy is interested in a girl named Ryan, who's like a skater punk.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, that girl, like, I mean, like, part of it is supposed to be like, oh, you know, like the classic, like the main character is interested in kind of like somebody that's kind of dumb or like not worthy of them. So I get it, but like this girl is like real dumb. Like,
yeah, you don't really like.
She's not appealing.
The movie acknowledges that it's super weird, which I like. That definitely redeemed it for me a bit. They're like, wow, what was that? Like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But they play it out too long, and it's so they don't like reference the inexplicability of it early enough.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I get it, though. Like, they're trying to be a little bit, like, alt or whatever. And,
which
like, it's fine. But just the girl just seemed like... I didn't even think... Amy as a character wouldn't be interested in that person. I think that's the weird part about it. Yeah. I guess that's kind of the thing, is, like, just sometimes you're just interested in people's looks or their vibes or whatever. But, like, it just doesn't seem, like, appealing on any level for anybody.
No.
Like, I don't know.
No.
Anyways... It's just a weird thing I thought was a little poorly handled, just because like the performance felt kind of weak. Like whenever she was speaking, like it felt like
she felt like she wasn't a professional actor.
No,
like,
not at all. It felt
like,
very
her eye contact
amateurish.
was terrible. She's very mumbly. Yeah, she didn't.
She felt like she belonged in a different movie, like more of a mumblecore kind of movie. You know what I mean? But then the kid, who I don't remember the kid's name, but the kid that ended up being kind of the other male love interest, like the. You know, the more long shot character. I thought he was pretty good, and he was well acted.
Oh, he was so funny.
He's
so fucking corny.
Yeah, with his like snake on his collar and stuff. Yeah. But like it was corny in a real way. Like it felt like that real, like he's trying to like fit in but it's just failing.
He's that heightened like millennial, well, not even, like Gen Z douche canoe where he's like, oh, I have pictures of myself on my t-shirt. My parents are super rich. Like
he's like oh my god, he's like a character right out of like a cartoon. Like he's like right out of like Hey Arnold or something. Like you know what I mean? Like very like stereotypical,
like Fairly Odd Parents almost.
Yeah, totally. And then there's a couple other side characters that were kind of funny. Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, is that her name?
Yeah.
She kept showing up. Now, here's a weird thing. Now, Billie Lourd is my age. She's like 26, almost 27. We could not figure out, like, if she's supposed to be a high school student, like, what her relation is to... But she keeps popping up, and she's always, like, fucked up throughout the entire movie, or, like... I don't know, like...
She's like Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, but, like, okay,
basically.
they reveal that she has, like, a bunch of cocaine, but then it's not cocaine. They keep saying that it's vitamins, but you always wonder if it's actually cocaine. You don't really ever know. And then, like, she gives them, like, strawberries laced with, like, mega ayahuasca is how she describes it. And it's just like, okay, but who are you? Like, why are you here? Like, I don't remember her being in their high school class. And I think they reveal that the douchey kid with the snake shirt, like, they live together, but we don't really... You never know, like, what her relation... Yeah. Like, she's friends with him, but I don't know.
It's like a John Ralphio and his sister deal.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like
stepsister. It's kind of inexplicable to the point where, like, I feel like it was intentional And like she's just like
it's funny
that random party girl that always shows up and is always doing wacky shit. Like,
but then
that
she was
but yeah, you
playing
don't really
piano at their graduation. Like, and okay, once again though, like they could have even pushed her a little further and made it even like weirder, and like if they would have been commenting on like who is this bitch, but like I don't know, they kind of just acted like, yeah, she's just weird and we know her, but nobody acted like it was unusual that she was there. You know what I mean? Other than that, she just kept popping up places, which was funny. But no, overall, I thought that this movie had a nice story arc. Like the ending, when everything kind of came together, I had a good feeling. And then like, you know, when stuff is like started to come together and then it falls apart and then it comes together for real. It's like it has a nice little up and down emotional arc at the end there.
Yeah.
And you like where these characters end up. So I think we're ready for final thoughts. So Ben, final thoughts on Booksmart.
Booksmart. Lots of belly laughs. Like I found myself, you know, pretty thoroughly amused and with the hysterics of the movie. I think like a lot of it's really well executed. I think Olivia Wilde is legitimately, you know, like she shows herself to be a real like directorial talent. Some of the stuff in here is like pretty well helmed, like visually and good use of like montage and stuff. But yeah, pretty well acted. Some of the stuff wears a little thin, and you know, it's a little more scattershot than Superbad. So I'd probably peg Superbad, you know, a little ahead of this, but overall definitely in the same vein of being like a modern high school movie with a lot of like still with heart and relationships and about more than just like raunchy humor, which there still is a lot of, and it's quite effective. Like when they do go full Superbad, for lack of a better phrase, they definitely lands, and it's quite funny. I'd give it, and it's pretty tight too as far as runtime goes. I'd give it, I'd probably give it 7.5. 7.5 red Solo cups out of 10. Definitely recommend. It's crowded at the multiplexes, so they could probably wait to VOD, but definitely recommend when you can watch it at your earliest convenience.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you said. I thought this was a pretty good movie, not great, but I was pretty entertained throughout. It's pretty short, so it's not like you can fault it for being too long or anything. But at the end of the day, for me, this is kind of Superbad light. You know, you're not really getting anything that movie doesn't do other than giving females a role in this kind of genre that maybe they don't have as much at the moment. So that's good. It's definitely like progressive in ways that I like to see. Not like shoving down certain things down our throat, but just naturally having them as elements in the story, which is always what I've said is how I'd like to see these things handled more. But yeah, I think, like you said, Olivia Wilde, she's definitely good. As a first-time director, I think she really has a lot of interesting direction. She has good dialogue, and she's able to get good performances out of her actors. So yeah, I think with a little bit of story tightening, she'd definitely be a great director. Definitely like to see what she does next. And I'd like to see what these actresses do next. So, but yeah, I don't think I enjoyed this as much as you. I still thought it was a pretty good time. I think overall I would give it 6.5. 6.5 strawberries out of 10. So yeah, that was our review of Booksmart. Little late to the party on this one, but you know, still wanted to check it out. It's been getting a lot of good word of mouth here, so
for sure. Anyway, I mean, there's not really a lot to add to the conversation between Dark Phoenix and The Secret Life of Pets 2. One is sequel to Dumb Kids Movie, and one is a fucking disaster.
Trash. Yeah. I still plan on seeing. At least I probably will see Dark Phoenix, but I don't know if we'll do a review or not. But we've got some stuff coming out this weekend. Shaft, Men in Black. I don't know which one we'll see. Probably Men in Black, to be honest with you. That's probably our likely review. But keep your eyes open for whatever we got next. And as always, I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
This has been a review. Thanks for listening.